turn this trailer into a tiny house. Before it goes up, must come down.
Pull your cart, little boy.
This is a lot of work, but we'll get there.
There's still more water coming out of that thing.
Anyone else gonna go to the bathroom?
You can't afford a nice door.
Oh, yeah?
Cheap ass.
Oh, that's it? Really? That's why we're gonna go with that? By the way, we were gone. When we were gone, I made this. That's my face. Like I put my face on it and I drew a. This is my eyes.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's my nose. This is my nose and that's my chin.
I want to know why you're doing that. Can you explain?
I'm very tired.
Oh, well, I've survived so far. 2 months and a week of almost 24/7 with this guy.
Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't even think about it! Don't even dream
The walls
about
of the project.
Oh, but the project. The moment you think about doing a tiny home,
Go buy one.
check yourself into a mental institution. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 29 of the TinyWanderland Chronicles. I'm your host Jay, and of course we have so much in store, but I will let you guys know ahead of time that this is going to be a pretty fast episode, but with Heather gone, there was still lots to do, and I was kind of left burning the torch, so to speak, to finish what we had all started. And I'm actually kind of glad that I was able to do that, because I don't think I could have looked anybody who helped us in the face if we hadn't finished it. So let's get into it with the first slide. Looks like that's just a view of the finished kitchen. So remember in the previous episode you saw me and Maggie on top of Blowhard Mountain with the tent and the stars? This right here, these pictures you're seeing, is the Tiny Wanderer's official first shakedown trip. Now, she wasn't completed. Some things weren't hooked up. Some things weren't done. The finishing touches or accoutrements, as you say, weren't put on. But there's a shot of the Tiny Wanderer on BLM land just outside of Cedar City. I think not too far from the town of Lund, actually, Lund, Utah. What you'll notice, or actually is missing in this picture, is the smokestack that for our gas heater. As you recall in previous episodes, I told you that on the first Tiny Wanderer voyage, I must have come in contact with a tree branch that didn't like me and ripped the smokestack off. I didn't notice it when I took this picture because it was late at night and I was tired, and I was just in awe of the beauty of the sky and the Milky Way. But we did have to replace that. That was one of the many things. So there's me with Arizona iced tea. That was kind of the drink of the trip. Me and Heather probably went through 30 or 40 of those a week. No joke. There looks like we're doing some work on the back. There's a picture of the solar controller, and as you can see, it is not charging properly. The solar never ever worked from the beginning, just to let you guys know. I've already reiterated that in other episodes, but this is an interesting view. You're looking down on all the tools that I borrowed from Tyler. And I once again, Tyler, if you ever see these, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and Heather's heart for all of that you did for us. I know it wasn't easy to help us, especially with you having your own project and your own schedules, but if he hadn't loaned us these tools, we would have had to buy every one of these, and then there was no place to put them. But kind of a side note, real quick, just want to let you know that we actually did go out. Well, I went out right around the 1 year anniversary of the Tiny Wanderer and bought a lot of these tools. I don't have everything in those pictures, but I have a good portion of it now. Um, this is a passport, and the reason why you're looking at my passport, that's a picture of my ex Charlie there. I carry that with me everywhere. I also have a picture of Heather and Lindsay with me. Those are three very special ladies in my life that I will never ever forget. And I'm thankful they were able to be a part of my life. But you're probably saying, Jay, why are you showing us your passport? Well, here's the thing, guys. You can only do so much physically, humanly, before you're at the end of your rope. Now, Dean, my friend, he knew that with Heather gone and no one to ground me, that I needed a break. So Dean says, you know what, Jay, I want you to throw that Tiny Wanderer unfinished. I want you to throw it in the storage unit, lock it up, and come with me to, well, I won't ruin the surprise, but needless to say, where we were going, I was going to need a passport, and I was also going to need a COVID-19 negative test. So in the next episode, we will take a break from the Tiny Wanderer for a minute, and we will go to one of the most beautiful places in the world. Unfortunately, in our trip, it did rain, but that does not take away from the beauty of that place. This is just one picture of the many cuts and bruises and dings and dents I suffered making the Tiny Wanderer. Utah Welder's plaque, that remains on the Tiny Wanderer to this day, and if it ever gets bad, chipped, or damaged and not readable, I will personally have Robert mail me a new one, because that is a stamp, ladies and gentlemen. It means so much more than just a plaque. It really is. It's literally a stamp of approval for all that Robert did for this project. There's another shot of the solar controller not working very well. TV still wrapped up. Oh, there's me getting my COVID-19 test. As you can see, that was not. This was back when they were using those giant bulb tests. So there's me all packed for the trip. And you're probably thinking, Jay, where are you going? Tune in for the next episode to find out. Picking up propane tanks. I gave Tyler his loaned tanks back. There's a view of a solar wall. I don't really know what this is. Looks like some... I was building the wiring wall. Now remember we built the solar in a couple episodes earlier. I was putting the finishing touches on the wall. And you can see there it is all boxed up. And I was building a sub panel for things like the solar lights, the lights underneath, the kitchen lights, things that the main switches didn't need to be run on. And these are out of order for some reason, guys. This is the COVID center I went to. Installing strobe lights on Maggie so that people could actually see us when I was towing. If you think herb lights were bright, if you've ever seen any of the little sub videos that we have, you should see the lights on Brutus. They're 10 times as bright. There's a view of the setup. You got the batteries and the propane jack, the propane tanks and the jack. Now it all looks great, guys. It all looks really pretty and shiny and good. But trust me, take it to Nebraska for a winter. It doesn't last. So there's a view of Maggie's strobes. The one thing we did wrong with Maggie's strobes is I wired them to the parking lights. So whenever you turn on the parking lights, if you have the headlights on, the strobe lights are going. And I got pulled over, I think it was in Arizona on my way to Nebraska when I was driving Maggie because I had the lights on. And when the cop asked me if I could turn them off, the answer was no. So he gave me a warning. He was nice about it. But Brutus has a kill switch where if I do get pulled over by an overzealous police officer or I'm not towing, I can turn the strobe lights off without affecting the rest of the vehicle's lights. There's those do not tailgate signs you saw and the posted speed limit sign. I told you they were on there. Interesting thing, these two pictures, I still didn't have a completely working shower. Me and Carol and the ladies at Quality Products were still working on the finishing touches of that. So I would journey up canyon to the Coal Creek and swim and bathe in it at night. And let me tell you something, you don't know cold until you've bathed in Coal Creek in September. So there I'm back at Roberts for some You know what? Now that I think about it, I think the Tiny Wanderer was actually left at Roberts, not in the storage unit when we went on the trip. I'm not 100% sure where it was left, but that doesn't matter. What matters is, you guessed it, it was that time. Time for, finally, after all of this time on top, it was time for the Smitty built tent to go to its final resting place. And if you look very carefully, you can see what's left of the smokestack that got ripped off on that BLM land in that. I don't know if that was this episode or last episode. I apologize, some things are a little scrambled, but there's Robert with his shoplift, putting it up there on the racks that he built custom. And there he is coming down. The only thing we had to deal with was this tent was originally made for like 6-7 foot, maybe 7.5 foot Jeeps, not an 11.5 foot top. So we had ordered a extension, but it still wasn't going to be enough. As you can see, we were just going to fall short. There you can see the original ladder deployed, 6-foot ladder, and then you can see the 2-foot extension, and we're still not quite on the ground, but getting there. And Robert, he is a magician in his own right, so I knew that I had no fear that he would fix that. So in a later episode, we'll probably see more about that. So things are a little scrambled right now, so you have to bear with me. I'm doing my best to get everything corrected. And the last thing, I was joking with Heather that this was the next tiny home project. And then there's me relaxing outside Quality Products on my mattresses. And okay, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I know it was kind of quick, but just like I said, little pieces being, added here and there, accoutrements. We will get there to the final product, I promise. Just hang tight. On the next episode, we get to journey to a beautiful place and put the Tiny Wanderer away for a little bit. As you know, the solar was not working, and I contacted Drew, and you'll learn more about that in the next episode on what we're going to do about that. Feel free to follow us on social media. Tiny Wanderland on Instagram, Facebook. We also have the Tiny Wanderland Adventure Group right here on YouTube. You can like and subscribe to videos. Check us out on Twitter. You might be our first follower if you do. And I'll see you in episode 30. 30 episodes. The 30th episode is next. See you soon.